public session back into order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and Sarah, if you could lead us, please.
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. So, I guess I do need to remind everybody in the boardroom to look for the emergency exits in case you have to leave, and to remember that there's no smoking anywhere. So, the first item that we will have is the board consent agenda. We have items C1 and C2, which would be approval of minutes for the last two meetings. Is there a motion to approve items C1 and C2? Mr. Trent, and a second by Mr. Piccini. Any discussion or questions?
The last meeting, so I believe I have to abstain from the last minutes.
So we need to do this separately then. So let's see, Mr. Trent, would you withdraw your motion, and Mr. Piccini, you'll withdraw the second, and we'll go forward and do it individually.
Absolutely.
We'll go with item C1, which is minutes of the minutes at the May 20th meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? I saw Mr. Nix, the motion. I saw a second from Mr. Trent. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? I see hands for, do I see Mr. Trent's hand? Yes.
I can.
I've got, those minutes are approved. C1 is approved. Next, item C2, minutes of the May 27th meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? I think Mr. Trent made the motion. Mr. Piccini seconded. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. I have everybody but Mr. Biggs, and I'm going to get to that next. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor. Any opposed? Any abstain? I have one abstention. So the minutes are approved. Next item is item C3. And is there a motion to approve this item?
I'd like to make
Okay,
the motion.
Mr. Piccini made the motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Mr. Nix seconded. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving item C3, you raise your hand and let me see. I have 4 voting in favor. Any in opposition? Voting no. 2 voting no. That it covers all trustees who are at this meeting, and the motion is carried and the approval is granted. We move on now.
Congratulations, Dr. Gianni.
Thank you.
Yes, congrats, Joe.
And
I'm gonna go back. Okay.
I know, thank you for waiting for this,
Or
and we'll see you soon.
you so.
Okay, so there's going to be 5 of us left because Mr. Trent had to return to work. So I think the next thing is going to be communications and announcements. Dr. Gianni, I turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Davis. So we begin communications and announcements this afternoon with a special recognition. Earlier this year, one of Frank P. Long teachers, Mr. David Perkins, was honored and recognized by Senator Martinez during the Senator's annual Black History Month celebration with an Influential Educator Award. Senator's celebration was held on February 28th at the Boys and Girls Club in Belport and honored individuals who are making a difference in their communities. Mr. Perkins is certainly one of those individuals who has been serving South Country Central School District for 16 years now, currently teaching 5th grade. Mr. Perkins is famous throughout the school community for hosting Bow Tie Tuesday. On this day each month, students wear bow ties and hair ribbons to feel better about themselves by being reminded about their goals to become more responsible and mature. The students also listening to speakers provide tips for success in school and in life. Mr. Perkins is also a shining example of how to give back to the community and continually demonstrates a desire to improve our school community through participation in a variety of programs, committees, and events. Mr. Perkins is always the same. Do your best to improve the success of his students academically and in life. The district congratulates and recognizes Mr. Perkins on his outstanding achievement. Congratulations, Mr. Perkins, and hopefully he's watching.
I hope so too, and my big disappointment is that we all can't be there in the boardroom and have him come in and speak to us a little bit. And congratulations on the recognition, but many, many thank yous for all the good things you're doing for the students that are coming before you.
The next item we have on tonight's meeting is some retirement and tenure celebrations. Tonight's meeting generally marks two very important milestones in one's career, tenure and retirement. The granting of tenure signifies the district's decision to make a more permanent commitment toward professional careers here in South Country. And in retiring, our retirees have completed their service to the district and are ready to move on to all the adventures that retirement brings. Normally at this meeting, we hold a lovely reception honoring our retirees and tenure recipients. However, due to the pandemic, we're able to hold that reception in person. We are putting together a virtual retirement presentation to be posted at a later date because the retirement window has not closed yet and we don't want to leave anyone else presentation. So this afternoon, I will announce those who've already put in for retirement, and we will deliver our retirement gifts to their homes directly. Each of our 20 retirees came to South Country with credentials, talent, and potential to be successful, and they certainly have been. You have each done a job well during your time here, and you've proven your ability to be effective. We thank each of you for your commitment and outstanding service to the community. Our current retirees are Lauren Brennan, Teresa Valero, Jerry O'Hara, James Buttsy, Suzette Vandal, Marianne McCann, Janet Carnali, Andrew Perea, Christopher Bauman, Glenn Hazema, Ramona Hazema, Patricia Collier, Patricia Garofola, Patricia Fortunato, Carol Hilty, Timothy Murphy, Deborah Jackson, Renee Kiss, and Carlise Antonacci. So congratulations to all, and we're wishing you all the very best in your life.
So thank you for your service. It's both a sad and a happy event for this to happen every year and for it to happen for us right now where we're having to do it by Zoom. Just know that we wish you well in the future, and thank you very much for everything that you've done over the course of your time at South Country.
Our next recognition is for Board of Education Service. We have 3 individuals concluding their service to the board this June. Carly Vildosa, Mr. Nix, and Ms. DeSanto. Carly is our student ex officio board member. Carly's a very active member of the student body, consistently contributing to our board meetings with upcoming student events and in sharing the students' perspective on matters before the board. She is also the first student ex officio serving 2 consecutive years. Carly, we thank you for your service. Best of luck in college and all your future endeavors. Our next 2 board members have chosen to step down from their trustee role and are not seeking a re-election bid this year. With varied perspectives and diverse life experience, each trustee brought something different to the board table. But the one thing they both shared was a commitment for the children in our district, the improvement of teaching and learning, and the betterment of South Country schools. And this was evident by the questions they asked, the directions they gave, the priorities they set, and the programs and activities they supported during their board service. For me, it was and is great pleasure working with them both. First, we have Mr. Nix, board trustee term from July 2000 to 2020. Mr. Nix served on board advisory committees, strategic planning, health and safety, and the audit committee. Also served on Suffolk County Shared Service Panel and was building liaisons to Brookhaven and Kramer Street Elementary School, and more recently served as the board's vice president, and that began March 27, 2019 through today and through June 30th. So congratulations, Jack. Sad to see you go. Hope you had a good experience with us.
I did. Thank you, Dr. Gianni. That's very sweet of you to say. I'll miss you all greatly.
And our next is Mr. Santo. Mr. Santo served 4 terms on the board spanning 11 years. July 2009 through 12, to June 12, July 12 through 2015, 15 through 18, and 18 through 20. Served on members of the board advisory committees for teaching and learning, strategic planning, health and safety, and also on government liaison committee, alternative high school, home tutoring committee, memorial committee, and the budget public relations committee. And in addition, serving as building liaison to Vern W. Critz and Belfort High School. So on behalf of myself and the entire learning community, I thank you both for your service to the board and the betterment of our schools and our programs. And of course, we wish you both all the best in your future endeavors, even though you're not retiring, but you're retiring from us. So congratulations.
I just, just noticed, I think, a virtual hand clapping for everybody, but I was going to comment and just say, I enjoyed getting to know Carly DiRosa over this year that we overlapped, and was very impressed to see how she really grew into the role, and she became a really good representative for the students, both in our board meetings and even at that legislative breakfast that we went to. So I'm hoping that she enjoyed the experience as much as we enjoyed watching her come to terms with all of that. I have Jack Nix, who I've worked with now for a year. He was vice president. I want to thank him for his time and his observations and his easygoing manner, which was a nice balance, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay. For Lisa DeSanto, there are not enough words to express how much regard I have for you and the service that you've given over the since 2009 with your service on the board. And I have found in observing you during that period, you always had the mature look and the far distance look and kept in mind the best interest of the students and the best, giving the best advice that you could to have this district move forward. It will always be something that I valued, and I look forward to having come contact with you in the future, so that just because you're no longer on the board, that you will be involved in the district, and perhaps you'll keep in mind that you now qualify to be a community member of the advisory committee. So if you want to serve on any or all of them, just let me know. So that's it. Thanks again.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Gianni. Thank you, Ann, for your very kind words. Please know that everything you said to me, I feel mutually about you, because I know for many years, while I was at the board table, you were out in the audience and in the community doing all that needed to be done. And so I was very happy in my final year of board service to serve on the board with you as president, and I hope the future board is wise enough to re-elect you to that position. Jack, it's been a pleasure serving with you as well. And I just happened to participate in one of the graduation parades this past week, and Mr. DeToro offered to save me a seat with him in the audience. So I do promise that while I may not be sitting at the board, I will be attending meetings and continuing to offer my 2 cents. So again, thank you very much. I want to thank the entire South Country community for allowing me the privilege of serving for the last 11 years. I feel that we have come very far in that time. I've always said that South Country really is a hidden gem among some of the large districts, and we really have begun to shine with things like our dual language magnet school, with our expanding pre-K program, having the building, having an option of full day, hoping that full day, the transportation comes back, and that we can continue to close that achievement gap that does exist in a district where we have such great diversity, and we need to continue to work to acknowledge that diversity, celebrate that diversity, and make certain that every single student in our district has the ability to be whatever they dream of being, and that we give them that solid foundation here to do so. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And can we all comment here, or do you want us to hold it until our comments later, or what do you
No,
want to
go
do?
ahead, let's do it.
Great. I want to say a couple of things, but I apologize, I'm a little long-winded. In regards to the staff members who are retiring, I'll just be brief in saying, you know, as you do this long enough and you see people come up for retirement that have had an impact on your children's lives, it really is a nice opportunity to wish them well as their career comes to an end. So it was a privilege to know so many on this list, and so many of them had an impact on my children's lives. So I wish them all nothing but happiness and success in their retirement, and thank them, excuse me, for all their years here at South Country. Now, for the outgoing board members, I have to tell you, there's nothing I've really enjoyed the past few years that we started it, of having a student board member, and the fact that we had Carly for 2 years, I think makes it even better. Carly's a bright young woman who has a great future ahead of her. It's really been a privilege to get to know you, Carly. I hope you're listening. I guess I was going to ask the other day why she's not on meetings. I'd like to know what's going on. But I'm fortunate that I've run into her at work a few times, and on the senior graduate parade, I was fortunate enough that she was on my list, so I got to say hello. So really appreciate her efforts in bringing everything that's going on from the student body's perspective to us, and really enjoyed her time. Wish you just the greatest of luck. In regards to the 2 outgoing trustees, I have to tell you, starting with you, Jack, I know we had a communication earlier this week or last week when you told me you weren't running. Anybody who knows the makeup of the board, there's probably not 2 people that look at the world with different set of glasses than Jack and I. But that really is like what I appreciate the most about you. I've learned a lot actually from getting to know you and your perspective. I think you've done a great job as a board member at a very young age, which is not an easy thing to do. You're obviously on to bigger and better things, and I think you have nothing but greatness in your future. So I'm sorry to see you go. I wish we could have worked together a little bit longer, but I've really enjoyed the last 3 years, and I'm really excited to see what you accomplish in the coming years. So good luck to you, Jack.
Thank you, Chris, thank you.
And in regards to Lisa, you know, there's probably not a person on the board I've disagreed with more over the last 8 years than Lisa. And I hope you're laughing at that, because that truly is true. But, you know, as much as we disagreed, and we've had some spirited discussions, we'll call them, we won't call them arguments, over the last 8 years that I've been here, I never thought for a moment that you did or said anything that you didn't think was in the best interest of our district and our students. And for that, I do appreciate you, and I thank you for your service. Of 11 years is a long time. I'm not sure I can make it much longer and eclipse that 11 years. I'm not sure how much ahead of me, but we'll see. So I wish you luck in whatever comes next in your life, and I thank you again for 11 years of service to the board. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Chris.
I
May
think,
I- Oh.
yeah,
This comment, Lisa totally summed it up perfectly. Our district is such an amazing place because it is so diverse. And one of the stories that I always like to tell is I remember being in college, freshman in college, and people were going around saying, oh, like, where'd you go to high school, things like that, like learning everybody's names in the class. And I said, well, I went to South Country, I went to Belport High School, and there was like a shudder in the class. People were like, oh, Belport. And I was so disturbed by that. And I fought back and I said, you know, why do you say that? And because it had such a bad taste in people's mouths for whatever reason. But I think, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to run for the board in the first place. But I would like to say that I think over the last, the last years that we are getting a better point of view of our district across to the wider Long Island community. And I think, like Lisa said, it is a hidden gem, but people are starting to discover it. And I think, for instance, the Black Lives Matter protest that happened over the weekend, that was a beautiful thing. It was covered on News 12. People got to see how diverse our community is and how powerful our community is when we work together, completely peaceful. And I just really wanted to thank Dr. Gianni and Dr. Colson for working with the people who organized that protest. I had said this in an email earlier this week, but it just warmed my heart to hear the woman who just recently graduated from Belport, Erin Kelly, who organized that protest, described Dr. Gianni as a fierce ally. And that just took my breath away, and I thought that was amazing. So I really want to thank Dr. Gianni and Dr. Colson for working with them on that. I really want to thank Trustee DeSanto, Lisa, for really guiding me these last 3 years. It has truly been amazing. You met with me multiple times, and you were not afraid to tell me what you thought I was doing wrong. and I respect that, and I took it to heart, and I hope that I eventually was able to, make you proud and work, and I'm happy that we got to work together over these last 3 years because your wise words really did mean a lot to me. And Chris, thank you for your kind words. That is so sweet. When I was also going to say, since we do have such different perspectives, I was worried coming onto the board, oh my God, is Chris Puccini going to beat me down or something like that? And actually, Chris ended up becoming one of my closest friends on the board, and I, always felt comfortable coming to him, talking to him about how I was feeling, and he always came to me, and I was very happy to have that partnership. So thank you, Chris. And Clyde, thank you for your leadership. It's been great to know you outside of the boardroom and inside the boardroom. I think you're just a great leader for our community, and I'm happy that you're going to continue on the board. And thank you to Anne, who is just a powerhouse leader who brings such expertise, and I am so honored to have served as your vice president over this last year, because I just think that you are amazing for this district, and I agree with Lisa. I hope you do continue on to be president, because I think you're guiding us in a beautiful and sound way, so thank you.
thanks again to both Jack and Lisa, and just because we've said all of these nice things about you right now, you don't get to get out of the meeting. There's still more work to do today.
Oh, okay, and now I'm hanging up.
You're going to find, and you're still with us through the end of the month
Yeah,
officially,
And
so,
we still have graduation, which I'm very excited.
that's right, that's right.
And all the best to everyone who's leaving. Thank you for just the time that we shared together, and I know you guys are into great things.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay, I'm gonna shift gears.
Yeah.
Okay, as the board is aware, the governor issued an executive order thereby extending acceptance of budget vote and election mail-in ballots by 1 week with the new deadline of Tuesday, June 16th at 5 p.m. In addition, we will not be able to begin counting the ballots until after this deadline. And what that means is we will not results of some counting at the end of next week, if counting recording goes well. We have about 2,739 mail-in ballots at this time, and we generally have about 1,500 vote in our normal election. This afternoon,
I'm sorry, can I ask a quick question on the budget, a vote, unless you're going? Do you want me to do it to the end? So, I do have a question about, the ballots, because of the executive order where we can no longer accept walk-in ballots, handed ballots, right, they have to be mailed.
Right.
I have some residents that I know who never got a ballot,
They should
you know,
contact the clerk.
but it's too late now, right, because they can't hand it in, and they're at the mercy of the mail at that point, correct?
Yeah,
Will they be at the mercy of the mail? Yeah. But I think,
Okay.
I still think for this time, I think if they gave it tomorrow, they should be able to handle it.
I thought that they had to be postmarked by yesterday.
Chris,
Ooh, I don't.
No, the postmark the postmark doesn't matter, the way I read it, John can clarify, the postmark doesn't matter, it just has to be received by the 16th.
Yeah,
There was
so
nothing-
if I can clarify, they must be received in the district clerk's office by 5 p.m. the 16th. You can still mail them in. Second ballots are not available and walk-ins are not available at this time.
Oh, so you can't even give out a second ballot now if someone says they didn't get it?
That's correct. So the date of the election
Never mind.
of the 9th remained the same. It was just an opportunity to receive mail-in ballots have been extended to the 16th at 5.
That's gonna create.
So that means that if somebody got their ballot and failed to mail it, they still have time as long as it is delivered by the post office by the 16th.
That is correct.
Well, then I guess you might want to get word out, Mr. Puccini, to anybody who has the ballot but didn't do anything with it, that they can still mail it.
No, the problem is, I just got a text from a resident who never received the ballot. And, now, and they don't know, what to, so now they can't vote.
Right.
And that's gonna, I can see that creating a huge problem across the state for people who aren't given the opportunity to vote based on, the issues every district has had on mail. Well, listen, it's not something we're gonna solve tonight, but it's just I anticipate a problem.
Well, I
I
think,
think
the 9th was the date, and they had, that was the date in the legal notice for the district, that was the 9th. And
Yep.
my understanding is the people who were identified as not having a ballot before then were accommodated and by the district clerk and given an opportunity to vote.
Yeah, okay, listen, they're out of luck, I get it. So, okay.
And this afternoon, the governor issued another executive order authorizing districts whose initial budget vote did not pass to hold a second budget vote. The executive order states that a forthcoming executive order will provide additional guidance on protocols for the vote. However, that vote cannot be held prior to July 9th. And then moving on, and Mr. Nick started this, and I'd like to end the last item I'd like to report on is the peaceful protest that was held in the village this past Friday. While I was out of town and unable to attend, in speaking with the mayor, Ms. Hayes, and others in attendance, I understand the event was a huge success. What makes the event even more noteworthy, it was organized by Belport alumni, Aaron Kelly, Maya McCullough, and Sarah Kennard. In addition, there was a very passionate, moving speech written and delivered by a current Belport student, 10th grader Sarah Alvarado. And Sarah's dad, I actually communicated with through email, and he was kind enough to send me her speech along with a Facebook link, so you could watch it live. And I've included that in board docs for the board's review. And I also plan on forwarding that to the leadership network who spoke about it and asked for it on Monday. So we're very proud of each of the students and their productive, effective civic engagement. And I'm sure other board members have comments to make as well. Jackie made yours as well. So,
I'll let other people know. Are we able to maybe, I'm not sure, if, since they're not current student, well, the one is a current student, about maybe sharing that on our social media?
what
The speech that the student made, or something?
I guess I just have to ask, right? I didn't tell them I would distribute it that way. So let me.
Just a question. Yeah, just a question.
Yeah.
If I may jump in on something similar, is that all right?
Yes.
I had emailed everyone last week that President Hayes and I were working on a statement from the board, and we did get a comment from Trustee Aruda. I didn't see any other comments from other trustees, but if we incorporate Trustee Aruda's one little fix, just fixing one line, would the board feel comfortable with putting that out maybe later this evening?
And I was thinking, have it posted to the website or?
Yeah. And the social media, and we could share from there.
Right.
My recommendation would be to add that to the agenda and authorize the board president to post it, if it's on behalf of the entire board.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Okay, so, when we drafted it, we had it from the board, but we also listed everybody's name. So, is it okay to have your names there individually? Or do you want to just have it be from the board?
I like that our names are on it, that we're all signing on in solidarity.
I personally think it should be signed by the board, but I'm okay with whatever the board decides.
Okay.
All right. So,
So can we take a motion here, John?
yeah, I think, Mr. Parker's trying to talk.
I'm sorry, with Chris, I agree. Once you sign up by the board, that includes all, board members. So I don't know if it's necessary to do individual signatures, but whatever the board agrees with is fine with me.
Okay. And, Ms. DeSanto, do you have an impression one way or the other?
Signature either way is fine with me. If you put the signature, I just ask that you spell my name correctly.
Okay.
Please add the space.
Okay. I made note of that. Okay,
The little things in life.
right. Okay, it won't be the signature, it'll just have your typed name. Okay.
I am
All right,
at the
so
speak right now, Lisa.
All right, so, would it be appropriate to add it to the agenda at this point, Dr. Gianni, without disrupting too much?
Why don't you take a motion to do it, and we'll add it as C4.
Okay,
And the ladies can do that later.
all right. So, is there a motion to approve the letter that has been reviewed, that was drafted by Jack Nix, Ann Hayes, with comments by Melissa Ruda, and then authorizing me to get that posted to the district website, and to distribute it to social media as appropriate? Is there a motion in favor of that? This will be item C4.
I'll motion.
Mr. Nix made the motion. A second. Ms. DeSanto? Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, the motion passes, all 5 people voting in favor. Thank you.
I will send the message over to all board members, Sarah and Dr. Gianni. And
Thank you.
And that's all I have, President Hayes. I don't know if any other trustees have any remarks or announcements.
So we could do a trustee and advisory committee report. So does anybody have anything to share?
I just wanted to thank one of our retirees, Jerry O'Hara, who was my kindergarten teacher.
You had Mr. O'Hara in kindergarten, that's great.
I did. So congrats to him.
You know, my favorite, since you bring up Mr. O'Hara, and Mr. O'Hara is a personal friend. One year when I was president, we honored him, if anybody remembers it. He saved the student's life when he was choking in cafeteria duty, gave him the Heimlich maneuver.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's just one little piece of who Jerry O'Hara is. Great person, I'm happy for him to retire.
He always remembered every one of his students. And actually, the funny thing about him, really thinking about it, I had him in kindergarten, but then when he moved to the middle school, I had him in 6th grade again. And he remembered me and all of the other students that he had back in Kramer. So he's one of the best. And a special shout out to Suzette Fandel, who was one of the greatest teachers that I had in high school and the reason that I survived high school doing all the shows. So she gave me a purpose. So I'm very thankful to that.
Okay. So next, I think it's items for discussion.
Yes, I have one item for discussion and action this afternoon, and that is the revision of the 2020-21 school calendar. A new New York State testing calendar came out now with June 1st, slated as a Regents testing day. On our approved calendar, however, we had June 1st as a vacation snow makeup day. So that's not going to work. To address the conflict, I am recommending we simply move the vacation snow makeup day to Thursday, May 22nd. And that calendar is included there for your review.
Just a question on that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that May 31st is Memorial Day next year?
Yes, let me open it up myself. I don't have it.
So I'm guessing the state in their infinite wisdom decided to have a Regents exam after on the first day back to school after Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, am I the only one that thinks that's just like absurd? Anyway.
Is there a
Okay.
motion? You're not making a motion for that, are you, Mr. Puccini?
That the state is absurd? Yeah, I should, but no, I'm not, sorry.
Do we have a motion, though, to approve the change in calendar to conform to the state requirement?
I will make a motion then, yes.
Okay, and a second by Mr. Nix. Discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the change? Everybody has raised their hand. It passes.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to curriculum items, the administration recommends approval of curriculum items reflected in schedules G1 and G2.
Do we have a motion to approve curriculum items G1 and G2?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Puccini, a second by Mrs. DeSanto. Questions, discussion, all in favor, please raise your hand. I have 5 in favor. The approval is granted.
Thank you. And moving on to personnel, administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in schedules 8 through 10.
But could you just repeat that again?
Yes, administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in schedules H1 through H10.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, the motion is made by Mr. Pacini. Is there a second? Ms. DeSanto, questions or discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. I see. Okay, the approval is granted. There are 5 votes in favor.
Okay, and as customary, I would like to announce those individuals that the board has just approved and granted tenure. I will simply, and typically at the board room, I would have our candidates stand. So if you choose to stand while you're home, go right ahead and do that. So our tenure recipients are Dr. Colson, Kristen Arsenio, Jacqueline Benatti, Samantha Berkowitz, Nicole Wow, I'm struggling.
You should have practiced.
Yeah, I really should have practiced. Kaloa, Lori Dougherty, Kelsey Irwin, Stephanie Factor, Amanda Findley, Joseph Irby, Patricia Craker, Carmen Marmol, Milana Osha, Jacqueline Oliva, Stephanie Perosi, Lauren Rovato, Leland Richard, Shannon Rigney, Daniel Rouse, Kelly Salmon, Joe Stapoli, Erica Vitale, Kylie Williams, Elizabeth Granada, and then I also want to include some in-year candidates that the board has already approved: Terry Carson, Lori O'Hara, Faith Thompson, and Nadine Perez. So congratulations to all tenure recipients. We are certainly looking forward to working with them and watching them grow professionally throughout their professional career. Congratulations. All 10 recipients can now sit down.
Congrats to them.
Administration recommends approval for business items were reflected in items I-1 through I-23.
There a motion to approve business items I-1 through I-23. Mr. Nix and Mr. Pacini seconded. Any questions or discussions? I see none. So all in favor of approving, please raise your hand. I see approvals from all 5 of the trustees who are voting. So the consent is given.
That's all I have, President Hayes.
Okay. I had just a question though about the need for another board meeting.
Oh,
And so should we go ahead and choose that? Or should we wait and see availability of the trustees?
I think we really need to wait to see the ETA of the count, right? Depending upon how many come in and how long it takes. And I think we'll get a handle on that on the 17th. I was hoping we'd be done by the 17th, but I'm told that that's a good wish.
You can't start until the 16th, so I
Yeah,
do it
we
today.
got all night on the 16th and hopefully all day on the 17th, but my understanding is it's a rather time-consuming task counting every vote.
I don't think, you can't start until 5 o'clock on the 16th.
Right.
That's
Correct.
correct.
So I was hoping that we'd be able to have an understanding of when we'll be done on the 17th by the numbers we have. So I think on the 17th, we should decide whether or not we could have a meeting on, say, the 18th or the 19th. So
Okay.
by scheduling it now, I think it'll be a shot in the dark, and we just may very well change it.
Unless
Unless we can find out people's trustees' availability for both those days. I mean, because I see it as it'll be a quick meeting, right? Clarification, and hopefully we have some contracts to approve. And we could do it either maybe early in the morning or later in the evening, whatever's good for the entire board.
I'd prefer to wait, if we don't mind, just because my calendar is changing daily, so the closer we get to the vote, knowing when we'll be done would be best for me.
I think
I'm flexible.
midday on the 17th, we should know about when we'll be done. I would certainly hope so. We could put out a communication then. Actually, 17th is Wednesday, so Wednesday, okay.
17th is Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. I can't see us meeting before the 18th, possibly the 19th.
Well, if it's gonna be fast, then, on the 17th, just let us know, we can work. I'm sure we can at least get a quorum of people, 12 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, it really, it's good, yeah. Okay?
Okay. Sorry, just a minute. Do we have any closing remarks from anybody?
I have one.
Yes.
Okay. My last meeting, I get to announce another one of Ms. Claiborne's donor use supporting for the classroom. So I have a thank you to everyone who contributed to Donors to Choose in support of Welcome Back Kits for Ms. Claiborne's classroom. Ms. Claiborne, I have said your name so many times with people wanting to donate to your classroom over the last year and a half. So people must really, really love your room. And I think it speaks to Ms. Claiborne, who is a fabulous teacher. So that's all I have.
Thanks for bringing that up. And Ms. DeSanto.
I wanted to thank BTA for organizing the graduation parades on Friday and including board members. I had a really wonderful time, and I wanted to actually specifically thank Ms. Nabi for allowing me to join her group. So it was really nice to drive around and see some of the graduates who were really, some of them very surprised, some proud, some a little shy on receiving their parade. It was a really great sense of the community.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Okay, and Mr. Nix, if you'll call me after this meeting so we can get that letter in order along with Ms. Arruda's comments.
Yep, you got it.
And
Well,
then
I
we'll
just
get-
sent it around to everybody and incorporated her comments, so we should be good, but I will call you, yes.
Okay. So any other comments or anything that any trustee wants to say? Okay, how about a motion to adjourn? And Mr. Trent's not here, so somebody else will have to do it. Mr. Parker, and a second for Mr. Nix. All in favor of adjournment? Yes, it passes. So until